You're listening to Real Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out realradio.com. Welcome to the Real Estate Rundown with Owen Ted and Megan
Denlis Bertrand
and Ted Kosh.
Well, that's just tells us the whole story of 199 episodes, doesn't it, guys?
we don't know what else to do, listeners. This is all we got. This is the best we have.
Hey, just to let you guys know, next Wednesday, which is in 2 days from you listening to us,
This Wednesday.
Yeah, there we go. We have Brandon Turner coming on as our 200th episode.
Oh, okay. So we're opening presents. Is that what we're doing? Like I thought we were going to keep this like Secret Santa style until.
Well,
Nope.
I already went
Mystery.
live, so everyone knows.
He just ran out there and just ripped open the presents.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah,
Ted, were you that guy?
My flow was right f***ing going, and then you stopped the flow.
I think they would put a goat noise where he just cursed. Yeah, we have it. So
A goat noise.
there you go. Mhm.
Yeah, no, you're editing. You're out. You're out, man. You got guest spots only now. You let Aiden work. Okay. All right. Yes.
Yeah, buddies. It's good to get everybody at the table here. This really, in my opinion, is like brings it all together. If you think about the 200 episodes, us three original.
199.
Yeah, but did I say 300?
I don't know. No,
200.
you said 200.
Okay, but
wow.
Because we just recorded 200, and it brings it all together because Megan has been either named or on the podcast more than anybody, and now you're official, guest host on here.
Yeah, it's official.
It is official, especially after we did Katie, and now that every time Owen's on a golfing trip and a very rare time that I'm not available.
Yeah, I'm in.
It's Megan.
We were always manifesting a female presence in this podcast, and we were trying to figure out who would that female presence be.
Usually it's Ted filling in.
Yeah. But, I mean, he has a lot of feminine energy, but I mean, we actually wanted, boobs and those other things.
Oh my gosh! Did
No,
you really?
Sorry to
Wow.
disappoint, Denlis. Sorry to disappoint.
What the fuck is happening?
I can't believe you just said we needed.
What in the
I
hell,
can't believe you just
man?
said we needed.
I was going to
boobs.
say, no, not needed. I was going to say, like, hey.
Wow.
Megan's husband is going to be all over
It's
you.
going down.
I really wasn't expecting
Lord
to say
have
that.
mercy.
Though.
Get me
It's
HR
going-
on the
yeah.
phone right now.
It's a hostile work environment.
Megan, thanks for bringing boobs to the podcast
thanks.
here.
I'm glad I could,
Anyway.
Maybe it's my big juicy brain, Denlis. Actually, maybe.
Oh my god.
No, that's why do people twist words?
We're gonna
to
get
make it?
canceled.
There was the worst twist.
We're gonna get canceled at
You guys are twisting
199.
it. Yeah,
There
yeah.
was the worst twist. You went right to boobs.
Yeah, nah. That literally was not. Megan, I apologize if that
Right.
sounded sexist, but that was not my intention. It very much was saying that we wanted a
Hey, bro,
female
bro.
personality. Let's continue.
Yeah.
You're good.
I know.
Stop talking.
Okay. I'm just going to go back and
Yeah.
press buttons.
When
go
you
back
find
to your
yourself
room.
in a hole, just like quit
Yeah.
digging, bro.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
stop.
Somebody grab his shovel.
Denlis just gets so excited to be back on the podcast after taking his hiatus that he just doesn't even know how to act anymore.
Clearly.
So what has been going on with you guys this week?
Well, aside from the sexual harassment litigation that's happening to my coworker, not much other than elevators randomly opening into a penthouse apartment where I
Still?
have somebody staying. Yeah, still happening. I don't want to talk about that anymore. It's PTSD for me.
Yes.
Megan, what has been going on with you in the last, let's say, 2 weeks? What do you got?
I am finishing up my 7-plex from hell. I don't know if we talked about that last
I
time.
remember. I've seen a lot of your posts on it.
But yeah, we are hanging curtains, and we've showed a couple of the units. We've got them filled already, so we are so close to being done. And I'm like,
You gonna sell it
Jesus,
or
Holly.
keep it?
I will never be able to sell it because I'm so upside down on it.
Yep,
that I'll
I know
just
that
keep
feeling.
it forever, and I'll be like, this is fine. This is my thing that I just
Fine,
have.
as you cry in the shower.
As I cry about my $200,000 that's sitting there, and yeah.
Well, okay, I have not. I've only been basically watching, what you've posted for content on your Sevenplex. Can you? What happened there? Can you tell us, like, good, the bad, the ugly?
Everything was not good and bad and ugly. So we bought it. We thought it's 2 triplexes and a single family on one lot.
Okay.
So we thought
Lincoln, Nebraska, right?
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yep.
We'll do 1 building at a time, and we'll just go through. We'll have 4 units paying rent, and then we'll do the 3 and 3 and the 1 or whatever. Day 1, 0 people pay rent. So we end up having to evict everyone. During the eviction process, somebody gets their power shut off. They're cooking food in the yard. They're stealing the ACs. They break every single window in all of the buildings. We board up all the windows. They start breaking in through the siding like little rats. They're just chaos and destruction. And so we finally get them out like 6 months later. I don't know why it took us so long. We tried to pay cash for keys, like all this stuff. They're professional tenants. They were way better tenants than we were landlords. So anyways, we finally get them all out. We start doing construction. We notice that one building is significantly worse than the other ones. So I'm like, I'll do that last. I'll start with the first 4, start construction on that. We go through that whole project, and I mean, we had to replace every single thing. And then we get tenants in there. I decide, okay, this is worse than we thought. Let's do MTR tenants so that we can boost up the cash flow. We can boost up the NOI. We can get more money for the rehab line, all this big plan that I had. We did the MTRs. That worked out amazing, actually. But we put in MTR tenants, and then all of the sewer lines started backing up. Oh. So we put them all into hotels, and then we replaced the sewer line. And then we put them back into the units, and then the sewer line started backing up again. And I'm like, what the heck? We just did the sewer line. I just spent a ton of money on this thing. Each unit had its own separate sewer line, and pretty much all of them were bad. So we've replaced like 6 sewer lines on this property. So dumb.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then continue on, all right, we got those stabilized-ish, move on to the next 3 units. We tear off some wood paneling that I thought would have drywall behind it. And it actually had only framing, horizontal framing with 1 vertical every 10 feet. The roof
10 feet?
Every
Whoa.
10 feet. There's no reason why it was standing up. Literally just like the 7 layers of old siding was probably keeping it all together like a little house of cards. So the roof line was framed 48 inches on center, so it literally bowed 4-inch span. So we had to reframe everything, pull permits on all that.
So you should have just ripped it down.
We should have ripped it down. But I was like, well, the roof is good and the slab's good, so we'll just keep it. Well, then when we reframed all of the roof, it ended up straightening out that bow and cracking all the shingles, so we had to replace the roof anyways. I was like, this is the only dang thing that was good on it, and we had to replace it. So we redid every single thing. It's a brand new place now at this point. Permits on everything, all new plumbing, all new electrical, all new HVAC, all new ducting, every single thing, insulation. It's a brand new place with an old slab, really. Much harder project than if I had just tore it down and rebuilt it new.
Number 1 lesson?
Tear it down. I don't know. Don't buy properties from Verna in Lincoln, Nebraska. Slumlord. Like, it was just so bad. But yeah, number 1 lesson, I think I just learned the staying power that I have. I was able to prove to myself that, like, even when the worst things happen, I'll still make it through. For the last year, we've been plowing like every one of our flip profits into this project. We've put probably $200,000 of our own money, over overages on the rehab over the last 6 months. And now it's just a matter of getting those last few tenants in there, refinancing it, hopefully getting my private money lender paid back, which he put the down payment originally. And I'll still have my money probably stuck in that deal for a long time, but it'll cash flow well. Even with the chaos. So
this will be Megan's future failing forward.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? I was sitting there imagining, like, you've done so many great things and so many cool flips and rentals, and like you have great style, and like I've always admired that about you. You just have kind of like a vision that I've never really had. You're like, I can do basic stuff, but like now that we're out of the gray and white or cool, time period, I don't know what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of having to relearn how to flip houses because like I can't just slap gray paint and LVP down and like call it good.
Oak is back, baby.
Yeah, so I'm still learning, but like I've always just admired your style, and I was thinking about like, man, she got stuck on that one. Like that was the one. It was like a barnacle, you know what I mean? Like you're going through and you're swimming just fine, and then all of a sudden you get something that's just like you can't get rid of. And that's like everybody's got one of those. Mm-hmm. You know, I was just thinking of like the ones that I've had in my past, and I know you have had them too, right?
Over
Ted?
and over again.
Yeah, but it's like man, like looking back now though, I mean, you operated under the information you had at the time, and knowing what you knew then, what could you have maybe done differently? Like what do you think? Like sewer line scope?
I could have done inspections at all.
Yeah.
That could have been helpful, but I don't like to learn from my past mistakes apparently, so didn't do that. I walked it with like just taking some pictures, and I was totally overwhelmed by probably like unit 5. I didn't even notice that one of the units only had a wall furnace, didn't have a regular like furnace, so it was completely unducted. They had like the top half cut off of the bathroom door so it didn't freeze in the winter. If I would have done inspections, I would have known that all of the sewer lines were backing up. I should have done estoppel agreements with the tenants so that I would have known if they're paying, they're not paying, kind of their status on that. They had actually moved in. Some of those tenants had never paid a dime to that lady, but she wanted to say that, hey, I'm getting $800 for rent. And so she signed these trumped up leases with them and let homeless people, essentially tweaker homeless people,
that's
move
shady.
in. Yeah. I'm like, I would have rather bought it vacant.
Yeah.
But she felt like that would have added value to her or whatever. So yeah, it was a hot mess.
So get a T12, people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Her T12 would have just been.
I just don't even know what I would do in that case. Like like you pretty much refinance and just stop the bleeding. You got it all fixed up and it's leased out now. It's nice property, I'm sure. But man, that's a huge punch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and in the beginning Brandon was like, hey, I think you're probably chasing good money with bad money, or bad money with good money, whatever that saying is.
Throwing good money after bad.
Yeah, and he's like, maybe you should just like cut your losses. And I'm like, I want to see it out. And maybe that's like a stubbornness thing in me, but I still appreciate doing that for myself, to just know like I can do hard things and I got through it and I did what I said I was going to do. My lenders are whole.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Good on you.
Yeah.
That I tell you what, that's street cred that you can't pay money for that. Well, I mean, you did pay money for it.
I paid $200,000 for that actually.
So, hey, lesson learned here. You can pay $200,000 to get great street cred.
Yeah.
But no, good on you for doing that, because a lot of people would have just been like, nope, I'm out. Like after they said they could have bailed, and you could have just, like skipped town or declared bankruptcy or whatever, taking the chicken shit way out. So I'm super glad to hear that. Like I'm sure your lender is too.
Yeah.
Wow. I tell you what, I did a subject to, and there's a lot of terms that were supposed to happen, like getting insurance money and whatnot. In the end, none of that was coming, and then it was getting down to a legal battle that I wasn't expecting, and it wasn't my legal battle to have. And at that point, it was just like, do I go forward with this and potentially lose a couple $100,000 and have a great property, or do I walk away from like almost $70,000 and just say, I'm done? And I had that moment, and with some advice from Owen, I was like, I got to walk away from this. There was nowhere to go anymore, and it hurt. It hurt my pride, and I had so much time invested into it, and I'm just like, I got to walk away. And I get it. Sometimes you just got to look at something, and I had those projects too where I'm like, I got to finish this out. But in this one, it was just such a big hill. And I remember talking to Neil Gallus about it. He had a property that was exactly the same, that was like 1 block away, and we almost were like identical properties, identical issues, and like still in identical rehab numbers, like $400,000+ rehab. He's like, I almost bankrupt me, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want that stress.
Yeah.
I already got enough stress.
Yeah. I actually went to my lender, a small local bank, about a year in, and it was a year term originally that I was supposed to stabilize it in. And I went to him and I told him all these things, right? Sewer lines and tenants and all the stuff, and this happened and it's cursed, and I got a snake infestation, and like just chaos, right? Just tons of chaos. And I said, I'm out of money and I'm out of time. Do you want it back? And he's like, no, I don't want it back. I'm like, I don't really want it either, but I'm in it to win it. So if you give me more money or you give me more time, I'll make it happen. And just like having that candid conversation with him, I think was pivotal. And he's like, okay, yeah. And so he was able to give me $40,000 more on the line. He was able to give me another year of time to finish it. So at least there was those options for me.
That's a great golden nugget right
Dude,
there.
that totally is. Yeah, I mean, good on you. I'm really impressed with that. Yeah, it's so hard to deal with those kind of situations because there's financial stress, there's time stress, there's other people relying on you stress, there's things you need that money for other than just plowing it into that, because you go into it and with a budget and then you blow past that, and that money's got to come from somewhere. Right. And I'm stressed just listening to you talk about it because I'm feeling my own trauma from past times of going through similar things. Denlis, how did so you did a live-in flip more or less, or live-in burr, right? Earlier last year or year before?
Yeah, I think it was 2 years now that we living in that house. So we moved in 2023. Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, the best part about it is that we got most of the renovation done before we moved in. So because I was like, there's no way that I could move in here with my 2.5-year-old, I think 3-year-old, he probably was at that point in time, and go through this renovation. One, my wife would never, ever go through something like that and be comfortable. So
you mean living in it while people are working on it?
Yeah, while people are doing drywall and all these different things in one room. So I had to make sure and get at least like 90% of the renovations done before we moved in, which is what happened. So it wasn't much of a big inconvenience for me and for my family. Right now we are working on changing our mortgage product out from a traditional mortgage into the CMG all-in-one loan, mainly because it takes away like
what
so
can you
much.
describe that? Like I'm betting that most people have no idea what you're talking about.
I would probably butcher the description or the explanation, but
Butcher away.
Thank you for the permission. So basically, it ties your mortgage to a checking account. So let's say when you get paid, that money goes into that checking account and it erodes principal first, and then you pay daily interest on the remaining balance for an accrual of, I don't know if it's 21 days, I think it's 21 days, that they charge daily interest on that balance. And the more money you put in is the more the balance goes down and it's the less interest you pay. So it's a strategy that allows you to pay off the mortgage of your house much faster. Obviously, traditional mortgages, the way they amortize it is you pay thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the first 15 to 20 years, and then it turns over to, you paying more on principal than interest. Whereas with the all-in-one loan, it's like, think about it. I guess bad description, but think about it like a maxed out credit card. The more money you put in is the more you erode the principal first, and then you pay interest on the remaining balance.
I like to think of it like a seesaw, where there's a 600-pound fat ass sitting on one end of the seesaw, and then like a 110-pound woman sitting on the other side. And then over time, they end up like kind of. I don't know why you're looking at me like that, Ted.
I'm just listening to your amazing story, I guess.
Personally attacked or something. But over time, one guy starts losing weight and maybe she gains it or whatever. And no, that's a bad analogy.
I'm like, how?
Let's call it
How
two.
is that transfer?
Let's call it two dudes on a or two women on a. No, you get it. So. It's like a seesaw. Over time, you start paying down the amortization, and like it takes forever because you're paying mostly interest in the beginning, and then it gets to a point where it tips, and that's usually about year 7, where your principal starts making more of a dent, and then it erodes the balance of it over time and so forth. But what you're talking about is basically an all-in-one mortgage where they do a sweep account out of your checking and pay down the principal balance on a daily basis on your loan for it. And it makes a gigantic swing. You wouldn't think it does, but it does. Yeah. And yeah, it's a very powerful tool to use. So but that's pretty boss move, man.
It definitely requires discipline, because obviously now you have access to the equity in your house easily. So people would see that and be like, oh yeah, I could go and buy all these different things that I always wanted to buy. But then now, obviously, that means you're going to be paying more in interest. And if you prioritizing paying down your mortgage, and that is like a big thing for you, then definitely the all-in-one could work for you. I don't know what the criteria is that they have to evaluate you to see if you qualify for it. But it's like most of the times, the all-in-one is a better product than the traditional mortgage. So I don't know what they look for, but I mean, I can't wait for us to roll our mortgage into that so that we could finally start to see some light. You know, with debt and everything, but yeah.
At least you don't have that predatory hard money lender breathing down your neck.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Does it have to be a primary residence on that?
I
For that particular product, my understanding is yes. Yeah.
Okay, there you
That'd
go.
be dope with investment properties.
Right?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
roll your whole rent into it, and then if like you need a capex, then you take it out, and then if you just
I don't know
But
why.
pay it off
I don't know why
faster.
that product hasn't come out yet. Honestly, like they could dominate. Like, can you imagine
Yeah.
being like the person or the bank that comes up with that idea?
Liquid lending.
Actually,
They do
we
that
should
in
probably
Canada.
radio edit this so we can just brainstorm and come up with the LLC. Anyway, for
they
those
do
of you,
that in Canada.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, I've talked to an investor in Canada who's like, "Oh yeah, I have all my properties set up in this way, so I just pay everything down, and then it almost works like a line of credit."
Right.
Yeah.
Those sweep accounts are like baller, man. Like we have a few lines of credit where, a couple different businesses I have, we have a sweep account, and it makes a gigantic difference in interest payments. So yeah, look into that. That's today's golden nugget.
And this golden nugget is brought to you by JM Real Estate Capital.
Hi, it's Rob, JM Real Estate Capital. We're the money guys that you need to know for all your real estate investments. Talk to us. We can do what your local bank can't or won't do. We don't have millions, we have trillions with a T to lend. 844 we close, or go online, jmrecapital.com. That's jmrecapital.com. JM Real Estate Capital, smart solutions for the real estate investor.
I don't know where Megan was on that.
It was a golden nugget.
She has the sultry voice coming in.
Well, one thing I do want to pivot in is episode 200 is coming up. Megan brought in her boss, Brandon Turner.
Again.
Wait, is she his boss? I wasn't really clear on
We
that.
can't tell.
Yeah.
We really can't
Yeah.
therell who's who.
They were both
Kind of a symbiotic
They said they
relationship.
both pay each other money, so we didn't know where that was all going. But
Clearly feet finder.
Your new employer, and potentially your future employee. I mean, who knows where that's going right now at this rate of the last couple of years. But I thought it was just kind of fun because we all started this together. You were episode 9, Megan, originally when you came on, even though you didn't remember that. And it's just fun to think that we're all here right now. It's been almost 4 years of doing this podcast, and it's just fun that Megan.
It's only been 4 years.
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
And it's fun
Kinda
that,
like dog ears, man.
It's fun
No, I'm
that
kidding.
Megan brought in Brandon, our highest feed podcast to date, which Megan was on there being interviewed, which I would definitely recommend checking out episode 60. It really was a great episode.
It was.
Yeah.
Especially the recap in the beginning of me almost dying twice. Love it. Yeah.
Before we wrap up, and I mean, we don't need to give much introduction. We got Brandon Turner here on Wednesday. Don't miss it. But is there any short stories, memories that you have of this podcast or this group over the last 4 years that really come to mind?
I mean, I already said it. That my BPCon experience with you guys in San Diego was insane. Jumping on those scooters and almost dying twice.
And then finding out we were actually sitting at a gay
gay
bar,
and
waiting for lunch that Ted was promising while he wanted to kill us by taking us on the freeway with scooters.
Yep. And I think that was my first BPCon. And you paid for that for me, so that is an experience that I would always thank you for.
You're a producer, man.
I know.
You paid me for that one too.
Oh,
Because
let's go.
we're sitting there, and
Why do
you're
you
like,
gotta bring up old
I think
shit?"
this guy is Alex Fleece. I'm like, I don't think that's Alex Fleece.
I told him it wasn't either.
Yeah, and you're like, I'll bet you. I said, okay, I'll
much
bet you
was it?
$1,000.
No, I said $1,000. It was
I-
my idea. That sounds dumb. I
Sure,
am.
yeah.
Exactly.
And you're okay.
Okay, sure. I had just spent the last week with Alex Felice.
And she
So
did
I
not
knew it
share
was
that
not Alex
information.
Felice.
Yeah, she did not share that information with me. And I bet her $1,000. Walked over and I was like, "Yep, nope, that's not him."
Yep.
And I remember this part. I think I Venmo'd or PayPal'd
PayPal'd like an old
but,
man.
But it was Jeff.
PayPal.
Didn't I send it to Jeff, your husband? And he's like,
yeah.
what is going on?
I couldn't get the money out of it. It was like the
remember that
most
too.
frustrating $1,000 I've ever made.
I am an old man, by the way. I identify as one.
Did you eventually get it out?
Eventually.
Right. So feel good because
Yeah.
she took that $1,000 and invested it into the $200,000 sevenplex that
Yeah.
she just, so there you go.
It's almost like
you're welcome.
you own some sort of equity in that. You don't want it.
No,
but
thank you.
yeah.
I'm good.
So the most memorable podcast was the Brandon Turner podcast, episode 60 for me, because we met at the place. But the funnest interview that I think I had overall was when we did the episode 100 party. And we invited everybody that's ever been on a podcast to come, and there was
That
like
was tiring.
200 and something people that showed up.
That was very tiring.
Oh, it was exhausting, and
me,
and then everybody was bringing us old fashions while we were doing our interviews back and forth, and I was so drunk during that.
Owen doesn't remember it. The look on his face says, I don't remember any of that.
No, I do remember. Here's what I remember about this. I remember I was thinking in my head okay,
We're
we got
slurring.
No, we have to keep this quick. In my head, I was just this whole time I was like, all right, in and out, in and out, in and out. Like we need to have guests come up, and I have like 20 people that I've cycled through, and I look over at Ted, and he's just like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. He's got his arm around somebody, and it's like guest number 2, and I'm like, I go, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, wrap it up. What is going on?
I did a good job. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm usually the guy asking the questions or whatever, and he's just like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. Like it was ridiculous.
He was finally allowed to get a word in. That's why.
Yeah, it was like the tortoise and the hare. Like he finally, like it all evened out. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, except for the terrible choice in shirts that you had made. Those were not good.
My
man.
blue ones?
Yeah, they're.
Oh.
Yeah, no, yeah.
How sad.
You're fired on the shirt selection. You
Hey,
need to hire somebody like Megan.
It's dry fit. It was good.
Okay, what was your fondest memory to wrap up here tonight?
I would say probably San Diego. That was probably my favorite podcast experience. I mean, we met with Beardy Brandon in person at his domicile with Megan and a whole bunch of randos. I mean, what could be better?
It was
There was a whole group of people staying at
But
there.
when he canceled that first day podcast, it stressed me out so bad that I couldn't relax.
Ted had shingles.
I couldn't relax those next 2 days, and I didn't drink. And then we got the podcast done, and I was like, the relief off my shoulders after that was done. I felt like 1,000 pounds came off because I was so nervous about it. And then I just got tanked that night.
Let's not even talk about that Patrick Swayze moment on the pier when he went up to a random person and was giving them a cigar or something. You remember that when we were walking after the party? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God.
I was like first time drinking a whole weekend because I was like just couldn't even, I was just overwhelmed. But yeah,
But that was when we met Patrick. So that
yeah,
was
yeah,
good, yeah.
Yep.
Patrick Swayze?
Swayze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I apparently
Patrick
wasn't
Swayze.
there for that.
Junior.
Good times. Good times.
Yeah.
Junior.
Well, guys, you guys listen this far. The biggest thing you can do right now is just leave us a 5-star review. Tell us your best and favorite podcasts in the review. Tell us something you love about the podcast. Tell us who your favorite host or co-host is. And
Clearly me.
Yeah. And with that, who wants to do the exit? Denlis, do you
Do it.
You think you got it?
Denlis.
Yeah, man. We have to leave this podcast and we have to go to episode 200 where we have Brandon Turner coming up. So stay tuned. One love, Rastafari.
Sign off.
Signing off.
Peace out, sucker.
How about everybody introduce somebody else? I'll say Owen. Owen say somebody, and somebody say somebody. And we'll go with it.
Okay. Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Real Estate Rundown with Owen Dashner and Denlis Bertrand.
And Ted Kosh.
And Megan Ahern.
Wait, why is she the only one saying her own name?
Because
That's
y'all
weird.
screwed that up.
I was supposed to say Megan Ahern
Yeah.
and she was supposed to say Ted Kosh. Okay, let's do that over. Yeah. I messed
Okay.
that up. That's me.
That'll actually be funny to play.
Who wants to do the exit? Who wants to? You want?
I think it's Megan.
Megan.
I feel so, yeah.
I'm so unversed at the exit. I don't get it. Do I have to?
Just
Actually,
Goodbye. Like, what am I?
actually, I still am. I
what-
struggle all the time with it. That's why I kicked it over to you.
Peace out, sucker. Like, what am I doing here?
Okay.
Peace out, sucker.